Alright, everybody, welcome back. Today we're gonna see what SNEAKO and Benjamin Owens are up to. Anything good, anything smart? We're gonna find out. Let's go.
And this is why I think they hate Islam so much, is the usury cycle is getting really wacky at this point. Because they have to continuously print more and more and more money as the end of a Ponzi scheme is hitting. And since it's a world reserve currency, it's pretty intense. The data centers, all this stuff, the way I see it is they're just narratives to give an excuse to create more money out of nothing to keep a Ponzi scheme going. I'm not worried about the super elaborate control structure. We're coming to get you and all this stuff. And it's just to get you to react like a prey animal to justify something in the future. And if you don't react, nothing happens.
This is the reason that they're winning this war. The U.S. Israel thought that they were going to be engaged in the same fear mongering that we have over here. We thought that it would be able to kill the leader and that it would just end like that. Look at the people of Iran. When they got bombed, what did they?
Honestly, Benjamin, this guy, he's living life, bro. He got a nice piece of land.
They start waving their flags and standing around holding hands by the desalination plant saying, okay, well, what do you want us to do? Cower in fear? I think that was...
Yeah, and then you're free. Once you go through that.
The only thing I'm thinking, isn't it a little dumb to build so close to the river? You know, if it rains a lot or something, I don't know.
You're like, oh shit, there's nothing really to be afraid of. And that's a nightmare for the tyrant. The most revolutionary thing Ye ever said, the thing that I think really scared the grabblers was slavery's a choice, because it is. You have to have...
That's fact.
Victim consciousness, and you want to give away your authority to be a slave. And so the slave drivers and their little lieutenants, they need you to think like it's someone else is doing something to you all the time. And that keeps you in a slave mentality. And I think the future is extremely bright.
Owen, good to see you again. You're like the one guest I have on where it looks like a green screen.
Honestly, nah, I don't think his theory is 100% correct. I think many people choose to be slave and have a slave mentality.
But it's not. It's real.
Yeah, that's real, man. That's a live stream. We're doing a live stream by a live stream.
I haven't seen your setup like that before. It looks beautiful out.
Yeah, I built an actual physical platform. So I can't get deplatformed from my platform. I just got real literal.
You had a funny joke. I saw you talk about how cities are gay and stupid. I don't know if that was the exact words, and how what are people competing for in the city? It's like, oh, we're gonna go play a song and see who folds first. Let's play the Hitler song at the club, and whoever folds first is the loser. It's like, and yeah, you make a good point. It's like there's not really a real competition out here. You make a good argument for being out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's also just not a great time to be totally dependent on the system, you know. But I'm not a doomsday guy. I don't think things are just going to collapse or anything. I just, lessons from Gaza and lessons from a lot of these things, the more independent you are with where you get your food, where you get your water, your friendship, stuff like that, the less.
And yeah, you make a good point. It's like there's not really a real competition out here. You make a good argument for being out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's also just not a great time to be totally dependent on the system, But I'm not a doomsday guy. I don't think things are just going to collapse or anything. I just, lessons from Gaza and lessons from a lot of these things, the more independent you are with where you get your food, where you get your water, your friendship, stuff like that, the less the thumb can press, you know what I mean?
Yeah, time and time again, I have seen it over the years, the same people. So many people that you were calling out, many people from years ago, I ended up seeing that you were vindicated about. And it's like, okay, maybe this guy has a point about getting out there. And even then, Joe Rogan calling you crazy years ago. And sometimes you could look at Owen Benjamin's Twitter, you're like, maybe this guy's just a schizo. Maybe he doesn't know what he's talking about. And then the years pass and you're like, wait, maybe we're all the schizos. Maybe we're the crazy one. Why am I doing? I just stepped down to get a cup of coffee, three guys asked me for a picture. I swear to God, these Jews have a stand outside and they're doing Jew books and they're handing it out. They're saying, hey, SNEAKO, give us a Yom Israel Haim. And I'm just trying to get a coffee. I can't.
That's hilarious.
You don't have to deal with that, And so maybe I'm the crazy one.
No, I mean, usually when people come up to me, it's people I like. If somebody comes up and says they like the podcast or they saw me on something, it's typically the type of person that I could talk to for a half hour. I like them. It's it's not, I don't feel hunted. And I used to tour with some really famous people that were on that level where I got to see it early on, you know, and I've dated famous women, and I just felt like I didn't want to feel like a prey animal, you know?
What was the hardest part about making that shift? Because I've been traveling a lot. I liked Bosnia a lot. I like Malaysia a lot. And I don't know, something keeps drawing me. I don't know if it's okay, I was born here, I need to stay here. What was that leap? What was the hardest part?
Well, I mean, you're young, and it's like cities aren't just bad. I don't want to demonize cities. It's just when you're ready to start.
Honestly, cities are shit. Cities are not built for natural families and having a family. Cities is a production of what's it called? Industrial revolution. It's only made for having working slaves, and then when you're done with them, throw them to the bin in the trash. That's pretty much what cities is. And yeah, people in cities are dependent on the state. That's why they're like bitches. 100% true. If you don't got land, bro, you're a bitch. Honestly. You lost in life. Bro, how the fuck are people even living and not even having their own land? That doesn't make sense. At least you should have 40 acres. I don't know. 20 acres at least. If people don't got 20 acres, what the fuck are you doing?
Having kids. Like for me, what happened was when my wife got pregnant, everything started shifting. I saw, you know, how a lot of things about women that I thought made them crazy actually were like great instincts. And things just started shifting. And I just didn't want my kid to be around people that step over homeless people. You know, it's just that dehumanization thing. I started realizing that everybody was once a child, and it was pretty intense. And I wanted to be around extended family. And that drew me out more to the countryside. But it's just whatever you're feeling, man. I used to be a little more hardcore about where people should be and all that stuff. It's funny, like the more vindicated I get, the more I'm like not even mad about stuff. Like I'm just like, I can see how people thought I was crazy. Like now I have a perspective where I can kind of see through their eyes how it must have looked to have a guy that they knew for 15 years that always just loved doing stand-up and hanging at the bar and was just like happy to be like screaming in the wilderness about how everyone needs a well and what APAC is up to. You know, it's like that probably was weird. And now I'm not bitter about it. I just am like, if anybody wants to talk about stuff, I'm down, you know?
Well, I mean, it's ironic because people in the city that are in social environments like that all the time, they try to make weird their personality. Everybody wants to have something unique, a unique quality that separates them from the herd. And when somebody actually does, then they get actually demonized. So, I mean, it doesn't seem like it's as virtuous as they make it out to be.
Yeah, it's like their own trap. They set a trap for themselves. It's strange. Like I just had a birthday party and there was like 20 or 30 families over. And someone was like, they were just laughing. One of my friends was like, you actually have one of the most diverse groups of friends I've ever seen. It was like all different walks of life, you know, couple black people, which in Idaho is like a panda bear. But everybody just has that honesty and that, I don't know, it's that first principle of honor culture where just people get along, and it's just like a great vibe. And it's just funny how what real diversity actually looks like. It requires a high trust culture. So that, like, you know, you're not tribal. You know, I was telling somebody, this Israeli that listens, who's a cool dude. I'm like, you guys remind me of American Indian tribes growing up, where it's our nation, right or wrong. You're just like, you know, you're similar to the other tribe, and you'll do anything to kill each other, and then you just end up drinking mouthwash. I'm like, this doesn't end well for this. Like, you have to start getting more first principle and you know, less of this psychotic tribalism, you know?
You said that you don't want to get all doomsday. Why do you feel the need to even say that? I mean, aren't you providing solutions? You're building a community. At least you're making something. Yeah. I mean, you spend all this time in a city, you know, working on stand-up or your platform or your podcast. You don't actually have anything to show for it. Everything that you've built is just numbers on a screen. This is how many followers I have. This is my clout. This is my platform. But it doesn't actually exist. There's nothing there. So why is that doomsday to be building? Because the creation is the opposite.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not doomsday at all. Just the internet is super doomsday-ish. When you were saying earlier about how I can identify people that are up to no good, the thing that I got from all that experience as a stand-up comedian, as an improv guy, you know, I was on the show Punked. In high school, I was a heckler at a Renaissance festival where, you know, my head and hands are out of stock and people would pay money to throw tomatoes at me, and I had to get in their head really fast. And so I'd have to read people based on what their pride is, not what they are, what their pride, like I was trying to find their pride. And so I have that ability based on, you know, you're doing stand-up in a new environment. You know, I'd be with the Miami Cubans, the San Fran Gays, the New York Jews, the Cleveland Gangbangers, the Iowa Whites. Like in 1 week, I'd open for Julio Iglesias. They dropped me off in Alaska. I'd have to, you know, there's no sun, and go to Iraq, entertain the troops. It was like constant new cultures. So I'd have to find the baseline, the common denominators, the first principles. And so when I see certain behaviors out of somebody, it's only a matter of time until they betray their friends, until they implode, because they're operating from this place of envy, resentment, you know, force, not consent, power. You know, there's all these like little tells that you can see.
I'm actually surprised, not to put you on the spot, like over the years that you haven't had like one negative thing, like no crash out on me. What would that be? What's your analysis? You said pride. Is that what you're able to see to pick?
Grotesque.
Honestly, it's boring.
Now with people that think Hitler was like controlled opposition for the banks. It's not even, it's like
Interesting. Let's see what's going on.
Stupid. It's like, what did you actually accomplish? Like, you just showed who's the boss because, you know, I didn't fold over a song. It's really not anything to be, you know, feel accomplished over. It's just, it's
like, you know, you listen to Two Live Crew and you listen to any song and it's shocking. Like I get offended by modern art, modern architecture. Like I know the feeling of being offended, but you just have to deal with it. Like the Hitler doesn't even matter. It's like, I don't know.
Fuck all of that.
Semitism is gratitude and productivity. Comic Scott. Art of war. Like you're already demoralized and it's, you know,
let's see. Does it get interesting?
Think that the world's going to end soon. Why are you optimistic? Why do you think it's better than the 90s?
Because that's how marketing. It's like people are faster to react to a lion than a banana. I described that like 9 years ago on a podcast where instinctively a threat gets you to react faster and more powerful than a potential reward. Because you can have a banana and you know, you might be a little hungry, but if something's ready to kill you, move, buy, click, subscribe. And that is from the love of money, you know, and I don't love money. Like I need to make money, but hang on, something just happened. Are you still there?
Yeah, it's good line.
Are you there?
Yep. Can you hear me?
All right. So yeah, people put money above their morality. They'll do anything to get more money, and fear gets you more money. You know, victim consciousness. Yeah. It's like alleviating somebody of their responsibility and say, no, it's the left, right, or it's mean Mr. Mustache, or it's even the Jews. I mean, that's a new form of victim consciousness where if you think that they're in control of the world and there's nothing you can do, and it's only a matter of time until the AI drone swarms kill every based guy, that's art of war. Like you're already demoralized, and it's, you know, the all-powerful God. I mean, putting Jews above God is crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that seems to be people's religion. I kind of flipped. It was so many Jews had that victim consciousness and talking about the Holocaust, and now you see the people talking about the Jews made the Jews their Holocaust. They were full circle on this.
Yeah, and that's why to really own it and say, what can we learn from Gaza so it never happens again? Like let's talk about what actually happened. Let's not.
What the fuck? Nobody learned shit from Gaza. You know what people need to learn from Gaza? If the civilian population don't have arms to defend themselves against aggression of any kind, bruh, you can't do shit.
Whitewash it. We can mourn the children and mourn the loss, and how can we moving forward not get dependent, like not get in a situation where that could happen again. And that's how you honor the dead. That's how you honor your future generations is just to learn. And it's actually much more demeaning to them too. When you look at them almost as like a coyote pacing a fence and less of like some supernatural deity that'll keep you from having a future. You know, that's, they squirt to that, man. They love that.
Well, it's still going on. I mean, didn't they just bomb some...
Lebanon, yeah, dude, it's hard.
Not even just Lebanon. I saw 8 camps in Gaza they're bombing. They're expanding into Lebanon. I would like to be like, all right, well, let's learn from what... But they don't
but
stop,
what can you do? I mean, so what do you do?
I mean...
despair.
It's pretty easy what you do. You give the people the right to defend themselves. Make it equally. If people want to fight, okay, make it equally. Let them fight equally. The one have this, the other one have this, and let them fight it out. It's that easy.
Despair is the thing that
But the problem is, people want to fight, but people don't. How do you say it? How should you say it correctly? Like, people only want to. One of the sides only want to fight when it got the upper hand. You know what I mean? Like the Jews. Only when they got the upper hand, they want to fight. When they don't got the upper hand, they'll lick your ass clean, bro. They lick it clean.
feeds it. Because if there was something you could actually do right now, like I'm all about it. But what can you possibly do with the system doing this?
I see all the propaganda starts and stops. It's all from America. This is where like all the culture spreads here, and it's getting so bad. Like
That's not correct. Propaganda is made for many countries, and majority of the countries in the world who is involved in international politics are doing propaganda. Russia, China, Europe, European countries, America, North America, South America. It's not so much South America, but North America definitely.
they try to do to get away with, bombing, and the rhetoric from everybody in the White House right now. You see how they always say the Islamic Republic of Iran? Every time they post about the war, it's the Islamic Republic of Iran can't have a nuke. But they never say the Jewish state of Israel. It's like subtle programming or spell casting. It's like if you ask any American, what does a terrorist look like? Immediately everybody knows exactly what a terrorist looks like. But they don't know what the definition is. They don't know that it's violence for religious or political gain. It doesn't mean brown guy with a turban on. But this programming, if I could
that's all that's all spells. You're describing spells, yeah.
Yeah, can you describe that? Because I've noticed how hypnotic everybody can become now. Like seeing the president get away with depicting himself as Jesus.
No, that is the thing. People are dumb. Wording have purpose. That's the thing. If you don't understand what the wording means, and you think it means one thing, but it means another thing, that's the thing. People are intellectually dumb, lazy, so they're easy to manipulate.
And then say that it was a nurse. It's like he must have people under some sort of hypnosis. How is that so effective?
Yeah, I mean, one thing is just continuously changing the definition of words.
What did he say about hypnosis?
Away with depicting himself as Jesus and then say that it was a nurse. It's like he must have people under some sort of hypnosis. How is that so effective?
Yeah, I mean, one thing is just continuously changing the definition of words. Exhaustion. Exhaustion is a main one where you just keep everybody's wheels spinning so they don't have the time to look into something. Like, for example, if you look up World War II, it'll say, 20 million Slavs were casualties and 6 million Jews were murdered. And they'll use the word murdered versus casualties. And if you think casual, it's like a very chill word. You're just casual. Just a casual day, And so those little programming things and the repetition and the in-group, out-group, and a lot of it isn't because people are quote unquote bad. It's because they kind of leave the cockpit where the stresses are going, the rules constantly change. It's like how you stress an animal to
No, it is on purpose. Somebody owns the public, not the public, publishing houses, and the words they use in the books are, what do you say it? They have purpose. If it's to show one narrative or another narrative, all the words have purpose. So, and we all know who owns the fucking publishing fucking companies in the world. Don't even get me started.
train an animal. And then eventually they just offload their accountability and just say, whatever you say, it's all good. But I see a lot of people not liking him. I think that there is a big illusion that, the shills are all in, but they're getting paid. All these guys on Twitter. Twitter's a nightmare. It's just like, yeah, it's just like the level of just lying, But in reality, people don't really talk about politics much where I live. And
yeah.
So like, let's say, let's look at Gaza and Lebanon. So what can we do? So what I like to do, I post about building stairs, or I have an app, a social media app with the good, the true, the beautiful about starting families and building businesses and all that. The key is just to start getting people in a position where they don't, join one of these wars, right? Where you just give people more of a purpose outside of the machine, and you give them something else to talk about so that the energy isn't constantly being sucked into that narrative. Like, that's why they don't like independent culture. That's why they call people like me a cult leader, just because it's not engaging in their story. Because I'm looking 20 years down the line. So bad food, pornography, self-hatred, atheism, all that stuff will set someone up to potentially be, you know, a puppet for one of these horrifying zombie wars, or they would sign off on that. They wouldn't know about it. And a lot of it is giving people something else. And it works a lot. It lowers the cortisol. They're more likely to have a family. They eat better. They sleep better. And then they're less likely to be a victim of a spell, because the spell wants you unhealthy. They want you exhausted, alone. A huge thing is isolation. You're the only one that thinks it's weird that people are killing kids in Gaza, right? That's something that I've worked really hard over the years to show people that they're not alone, that it's actually a very logical, because a lot of survival mechanism is herd. You know, it's like, I don't want to be kicked out of the herd. And so I show people that, like, that's why the Tucker interview, I think, was powerful for people, is ridiculous amount of media attacks and deplatforming. And not only did I survive, I was really happy. You know, that's a fuck you to the devil. You know what I mean?
That's also part of the reason that I think I will have a loyalty to stay in New York City, is because I want to believe that people are still good. You know, through all the threats and people saying that the ideology is evil and the media that's demonizing, I still want to believe that people are inherently good. And that's what I think
they are inherently good.
And I tend to find that. You know, there's like 8 million people here going in and out. I'm in Manhattan, the busiest place. It's like 90.
I think majority of people are good, but not all. Like, you can see, like, a guy like Patrick David, he's a bad person. His life philosophy is the strongest person wins. That means that anybody who's beneath can be dealt with as he wants. That's the viewpoint of some people in the world. So I think some people, many more than people think. How the fuck do we word it correctly? Than we think, more people than we think are actually real bad people, honestly. The framing about not everybody and not majority, nah, bro. I think it's a big majority, not a big majority. How the fuck do we word it? Yeah, there's a lot of them bad people, actually, a lot. Especially people who are in positions of power.
99.9% of the interactions are overwhelmingly positive. And so, but if you look online, you would think that it's all mayhem. But just like in Idaho, most,
like they say on TikTok, fuck the rich.
Most people are not schizo invested into everything.
Zero.
Yeah, it's not what it seems online.
No, online is total. It's an illusion, man. A lot of these bots, it's really bots. And I know some people do the cope thing and say everything's a bot, but I know it is. It's just like there is these big intelligence campaigns to make people feel afraid, and we're coming to get you and all this stuff. And it's just to get you to react like a prey animal to justify something in the future. Yeah. And if you don't react, nothing happens. I mean, dude, I've been on all the lists and all the attacks and all this shit, and biggest podcast in the world saying I'm going down a dark road and they're scared for my family and stuff that could get me CPS sent to my house and kicked out of banks, and people that I thought were my friends are just full of shit, you know what I mean? And it's like, I just started gardening. I started building staircases. I spent more time with my kids. I started teaching piano, and, you know, I spent more time with my wife, had more kids, and nothing happens. But when you react like a prey animal, that's when the wolf jumps. And so that's the main thing about the internet. It's like this hall of mirrors of ghosts.
I noticed that shift. I wonder if you spotted it too. People like us, we were censored everywhere, right? Banned everywhere. But I realized that, well, they realized that they don't need to ban anymore. They could just pump it with lies and just get everybody. You're right. They want to put out the bait there. That's why things look nastier than ever before. Because if you take the bait, then now you're not emotionally in control of yourself. You're now a slave. You're no longer in control of your feelings, and you're arguing with somebody that's probably an Indian smartphone that's not even a real human. This is an AI person that you're arguing with. You look at their profile, it's not real. It's been flooded with these this is a new thing. And it's actually a much more effective shift than censorship, because this will exhaust you. It will drain you away if you let it. Rather than ban people, because then if you get banned, it's like the Hitler song effect. You're like, oh, I'm the martyr, you're the hero, right? You're the top dog. But if you just flood everyone else and you make them seem insane, crazy, and they're bickering and they're insulting each other's religion, then you just have no more energy to build a farm.
Yeah, and when you're banned, you can become competition. They can't keep an eye on you as much. And like, they learn psychologically in war that if you bomb an area, people actually get less fearful. That the real money spot that they want to keep people in is the wars over the hill. It's like fear. They start imagining it. But when people are actually attacked, like actually bombed, they can get very resilient, get a lot more local. Their faith can grow. And so it's a tightrope. I mean, the monsters don't have an easy ride. And so, yeah, they want, in the end, we have free will. Like they want you to choose despair. And so, yeah, I mean, like when they kicked me off everything, I started using a post office box. I started local meetups. I started my own social media platform. And it's like, I think that type of stuff sends a shiver down their spine where I didn't want to play in their game anymore. And then they're like, okay, guys, come back in.
Slavery is a choice. I mean, look, Iran, for example, this is the reason that they're winning this war that the U.S. started, is because the U.S. probably thought, or U.S. Israel thought, that they were going to be engaged in the same fear mongering that we have over here. We thought they would be able to like kill the leader and that it would just end like that. And the war never actually happens in America. When's the last time we've had a war on our soil? What has it been, like the Civil War?
Our wars are sneaky. It's like fentanyl and stuff like that. It's economic wars.
Psychological warfare, spiritual warfare, but actual warfare. We talk all day long about they can't have a nuke, they can't have this weapon, they can't have chemical weapons, these looming weapons, these sleeper agents, these threats within. We always talk about this, but it doesn't seem to manifest in the way it does everywhere else in the world. But look at the people of Iran. Like when they got bombed, what did they start like waving their flags and standing around holding hands by the desalination plant, saying, "Okay, well, what do you want us to do? Like cower in fear?" I think that was
and then you're free. Like once you go through that, you're like, oh shit, there's nothing really to be afraid of. And that's a nightmare for the tyrant.
You said that you were speaking to Islamic. I didn't know that you had Islamic scholars in your phone.
Yeah.
Anybody I know?
Yeah, like that. Yeah, like who was I just texting with? This dude wrote a book about the history of Negroes in Africa and stuff.
Okay.
Dude, he's a legend. Yeah, Dr. Ali.
Why the fuck did he say it like that?
I'll send you his info. He's hilarious. Great sense of humor.
Does it get into slavery and the truth about the slave trade? Is that what it's about?
Yeah, he's like, yeah, he gets into that. Just the history of the word and the history of all that stuff. It's one thing we started talking about. And yeah, we just remained friends.
And Tucker, was that a weird, was that an interesting podcast? What was that experience like? You know, probably.
Dude, I loved it. I love that guy. I relate to that guy a lot. He's like a golden retriever. He's just like excitable. You know, he's got that Protestant Anglo-Saxon work will set you free vibe that I also have. We're showing each other just paths that we're making in the woods for like no reason, just because it makes us happy. You know, it's we were talking about toil maxing, and his brother's awesome. You know, and I think that the energy I brought to him was really cool because he can get brooding, thinking about, you know, injustice. You know, honor culture guys get really pissed off at bullies. I understand that totally. And so like me also just getting fired up, I think our energy's got going. And he gave me, you know, I've been happy ever since, because someone with the size of his platform, I think it's awesome that he just freely talks, and he does. We had a nice long dinner, we just talked a lot, and he's just a very open, honest guy. And it just felt great that someone of his status in the media is a good person. You know, that felt good. What
separates somebody like Tucker from all the other podcasters or the boomers, the, you know, crazy warhawk people that can't admit they're wrong? Because he is a rare case where he's saying, I made a mistake here, and he owns it. And you almost never see anybody in media say that or admit mistakes.
Well, that's why I respected him and went out to talk to him, because he said he was wrong about Iraq. He was wrong about 9/11. And exactly, I look at that in people. Are they ever wrong? Can they make fun of themselves? You know, and my motto is I might be wrong, but I'm not lying. And he really resonated with that. And I think the Shill's motto is I might be lying, but I'm never wrong, where they can just change what they say from day to day, and they're never wrong, and they never have to acknowledge it, because there is.
That's over like a 3-hour kind of self-absorbed thing about the art of stand-up. But getting to the truth and the philosophy of what's real and what's not an objective reality, how does that coexist, and how does that does that have any overlap with stand-up for you?
Yeah, great question. That's why I couldn't let go of it. It wasn't because I'm some martyr or I'm just so moral. I couldn't, like, in comedy, unless you have the truth, like unless you're firmly tied to the truth, you can't do hyperbole, you know, exactly.
I don't know, maybe I find it boring because I've been watching this guy, what it's called, Benjamin Owen long time ago. So no, he's not telling something new. I don't know why SNEAKO. He should be honestly. SNEAKO should be more prepared for this interview. Honestly, it's too boring interview.
Exaggeration, alliteration, irony.
It could have been better, you know. Global politics, all of that. More sharp questioning, direct answer. Bruh, it's just drawn a little out.
Satire. It's all rhythmically off. You're bouncing off truth. So if you lose truth and you start saying, like, originally for me it was the trans kid thing and the Caitlyn Jenner thing, I wouldn't let go. I'm like, guys, you know, I originally did the hasn't been a woman for a full year joke, but 6 years before Chappelle. Like, that was originally the bit that got so many people angry, and then the whole there's no trans kids. Like, I thought that I was in a nightmare, and people were just playing make believe that Bruce Jenner is this wonderful mother or something. Like, it's like the best woman in the world. Like, what the f are you? And so I couldn't let go of that of truth, because then I can't be a comedian. And when you're on stage and you're bombing, that is painful. You know, if you're not funny, if you're not resonating with people. And the way that happens is when you let go of truth. Because once you let go, it gets harder and harder to get it back. You start getting callous. You're in a delusion bubble. Lies lead to lies, lead to lies. And then you just end up very, very confused.
But the current state of stand-up, I go to the Comedy Cellar all the time. It's not too far from where I live. And everyone feels like they're still trying to, like they're afraid of the crowd a little bit. Like they're afraid that if they go too far, if they're completely honest, that they're going to be judged for being hurtful or offending them more. I'm not trying to sound like it's like 2016, but you could still feel that.
Yeah, fear. They smell like fear, yeah.
Yeah, there's a fear of the crowd, and so everyone will always throw in something to be liked again. Whenever they go too far, they'll always self-deprecate in a way that's not authentic. It's like you're just doing this to humble yourself.
Condescending as too.
Yeah, it's like you're not taking me seriously. It's like you think that I'm stupid.
I think, yeah, exactly. Like there's nothing more condescending than acting like black people can't take a joke like white people. Like,
honestly, too boring. Global politics. We need some more global politics. All this comedy shit. Fuck comedies, bro.
Black, because as you can see, what happens is like every group you can have a subgroup that does things. It's about the behavior, not the racial identity. So when you and I openly say it. I just won't in case you're on some platform or something, just out of respect to you. But I will say N-word, but I philosophically think that's ridiculous. But it's like, so you have white trash, right? You have like redneck. You have like.
It's not philosophical. What the fuck is he talking about, bro? The word is used as a slur, so philosophical, it should not be used. And factual should not be used. So what the fuck? Bro, honestly, okay, Owen, he wanna play clever, but he's not that clever, bro. He's too much, has his own feelings in shit, you know? But honestly, I thought it would be more global politics, fucking the world. It's pretty much the same fucking shit we already heard before. Boring.
You have these different subgroups that's based on behavior. Like if you have a white guy doing meth, stealing copper, oh, white trash, right? If you remove that ability, like that Chris Rock joke, nailed it in the 90s. Nailed it. Because is it a black guy that stole your bike, or is it the N, right? Because being black doesn't make you a criminal. You see how it psychologically flips it, where then people start saying, oh, black people commit 50% of the murders or whatever. And you're like, no, hard N's, right? It's like being black doesn't make you anything. It's not like a defining thing. It's not. That's why I call Jews grabblers, because the Jews did the opposite, where the pejorative is the same word. And I used to do a bit about how the only way you can tell if it's pejorative is in the eyebrows. Like there's Jews and then there's Jews, right? Because that's why I started calling them grabblers, because grabbling is the behavior. Like you picture the hand rubbing, the loopholing, like the gypsy grabbler, like the con man, versus just like the identity of a Jewish man. And so the black and hard N is almost like the opposite of Jew and Jew. Like when Bill Zarian was on TMZ, and
honestly, it's so boring.
This year,
don't give a fuck about that word. Honestly, only in America people give a fuck about that word, bro.
Private prisons and all that shit. And it's just like, enough with the grabbling. It's like, obviously,
the world
What up, man? Honestly, it's boring, bro. It is.
Do you foresee what do you predict and what do you see is changing besides this this despair that people have started to feel?
I think a lot of this, and this is why I think they hate Islam so much, is the usury cycle is getting really wacky at this point. Because they have to continuously print more and more and more money, like as the end of a Ponzi scheme is hitting. And since it's a world reserve currency, it's pretty intense. And so the data centers, all this stuff, the way I see it is they're just narratives to give an excuse to create more money out of nothing to keep a Ponzi scheme going. They have to print $10 trillion in the next 3 years. So I'm not worried about, this super elaborate control structure. I think things are going to get less, things are going to work less. I don't think that they're going to get more of these like elaborate systems going. I think, there'll be times when people don't have power, or there's no water, or the cops don't show up, or the garbage men don't pick up your garbage, because the value of the dollar gets less and less and less. So as that's happening, there's going to be this, AI is the demon. It's going to replace all life. It's going to do all this. And I think it's just narratives to justify this absurd spend that they have to do, whether it's war, pestilence, these demon gods or whatever. And as that's happening, more and more people will have the ability to reconnect with reality, where, there's never been more of a ability to start a business, to get any information you want, to connect with anyone you want. As soon as you get out of that mentality of a video of me will...
Honestly, too boring.
Either...
What's this about? Honestly, the whole thing, boring. Pretty much.
Acknowledge it, then you can kind
like, it's nothing new. It's nothing new. He hasn't built on his analytics. If you go back and watch an interview from Benjamin Owens from, I don't know, 5 years back, I don't know, 3 years back, it's pretty much the same, bro. It's repeat. And honestly, SNEAKO, I don't know why he's not asking some interesting global politics or,
kind of grow and like, there's a lot of the things that people are the most scared about. I am almost 100% sure are not real. And this will be controversial because people really hold on to the fear, but I think nuclear bombs are totally fake.
Oh, actually, SNEAKO, he asked him, but he's like deflecting and going back to like something, I don't know, bro. Benjamin is too much in... He's saying the same shit too much, bro.
I think it's total... I can't stop laughing thinking about Trump may have been like, yeah, we're nuking Iran, and he had to learn that there's no nukes. Because it's the ultimate excuse to invade anyone. They're building nukes, and it's like, watch out, or daddy will drop a nuke on you. And it's, Japan, that people say, well, what about Hiroshima and Nagasaki? They weren't even in the top 10 most destroyed cities. Tokyo was way more destroyed. It's fire bombs. They're all made out of wood. Japan surrendered because 1.5 million Russians invaded Manchuria like the day after they dropped the bomb. Hiroshima's thriving. There's no higher rate of cancer. It's just, it's like Monsanto will give you cancer. But and so this idea that someone's just going to press a button and kill everybody. No, despair kills people. Hopelessness kills people. Nihilism kills people.
What about white replacement? What? This doesn't scare you that the white race is declining and that Islam is destroying the white race?
No, Islam isn't a race. So if somebody has the ability of having a child and thriving in a time of despair, then good for them. That's just the natural, that's real eugenics. So no, I'm not, if somebody can't have a child because they need a nicer car and they're afraid and all this stuff, well then that's the deal. And I always respect people with kids. So it's like, if Muslims are having kids, good for them. That's a testament to their faith. Because that's investing in the future. It's saying that God is good and that the devil is not in control and that we'll always find a way. And I respect that.
That's your only real legacy is your children. Everything else is going to be forgotten. Everything else fades away. But your children, that's your lineage. That's the only thing that actually does stay and that you could be truly remembered for is your family.
Yeah, and it's the greatest. I love being a father. I learn so much from my kids. And the white replacement thing gets a little annoying. There's more white people in America right now than there was in 1950. There's just also a bunch of other people who can be annoying and they can, throw around and whatnot. But it's just, we have to earn our own shit. A lot of white people think they deserve all this credit. I hear these whites sometimes be like, well, we built the cathedrals and they built mud huts. I'm like, show me right now, build a mud hut. They can't build a mud hut. They're useless. You know, and I've had some of the whites get mad at me because I'm like, yeah, you should be replaced if you won't work. You're
That's the funny part. The whites didn't build shit. Nobody built shit, bro. Whites, listen, that's the fucking fantasy illusion. I don't know who the fucking sold you that shit, but let me tell you something. White people, all of you in Europe, you were fucking slaves for the king. Nothing fucking else. You worked the fucking field. You chilled at the fucking field. You fucking, when you got the order, you went to war and died in a fucking battlefield somewhere, long way from home. Bruh, shut the fuck up, bruh. What the fuck did you build, bruh? Some mason whose fucking rich father paid for him to get educated? Yeah, he fucking probably built it, but nah, bruh. Get the fuck out of here. Honestly, white people live in an illusion, a romantic illusion about the Middle Ages, bruh. Stop that shit, bruh. You a fucking slave. Nothing else. That's why your people got sent to America. That's why, bruh, don't get me fucking started, bruh. This romantic history, only Americans believe that.
full of despair. You're a pervert. You freak out on everyone on the internet all day. Like, yeah, why would the future want you? You didn't build the cathedrals. Great people built the cathedrals with faith and hard work. You're just trying to, you know, you're on peptides, so your dick looks bigger or something. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't last in this realm.
There was some
I don't know if it was great people, but it was people. Great. Where did the money come from? It came from genociding other people who were native, who were not the same faith, stealing, plundering. Don't get me started, bro.
philosopher who said that in a declining empire, people start taking credit for their ancestors' achievements because they have none.
That's so true, man. I see that with the whites more than anybody.
Yeah, I do.
Where it's just, I get very annoyed by it. It's like, oh, we did this.
What is this white? I don't get it. White. This white. Listen, in Europe, that whiteness doesn't exist. In Europe, you either from France, Germany, Scandinavian country, Italy. This whiteness, it doesn't exist, bro.
This.
Does it come from some crusade shit or something? What the fuck are people telling these people in America, bro? I don't get it, bro. Honestly, I don't get it. What is this whiteness? This whiteness shit, Europeans first heard it from America. It isn't European.
And I'm like, these are the same people that won't help you like build a chicken coop. They're like, oh, sorry, I just can't. I'm whacking it.
It's funny that became the we was kangs, is the white people talking about, you know, the Greeks and talking about the Italians, and this is the new we was kangs, talking about what your ancestors did instead of doing anything yourself. What is the number one contributing factor to the low birth rate in the white race?
Where in America?
I would say the West.
I think
the
material.
West.
I think despair and materialism. This idea that, you know, you need more money when you can look at children as a labor force. You don't really need.
That's not why. In the West, it's because you allowed outside system to go in and fucking be the leader and be the boss over your fucking home. That's why. But it's a normal thing. You gotta be honest. Listen. What the American calls white, but European population and also American population until they moved abroad, they were slaves. Listen, bro, you gotta understand, these people lived like slaves for generations. Like, I don't know, man, 1,000 years almost, probably. Yeah, 1,000, maybe 800, 1,900 years. They lived like slaves. Like the Scandinavian countries, when they became Christian, after that, they were not free like the Vikings. The Vikings, it was a different system. The function, the way the land was set up, with territories, who owned what land, and all of that. But when it became Christians, then the church came, then the popes came, then the taxes came. Bro, don't get me fucking started, bro.
Money to do things. You know, I have friends that make $14 an hour that have a bunch of kids. I mean, you're not going to be going to Disneyland, but I think it just has to do with really need money to do things. You know, I have friends that make $14 an hour that have a bunch of kids. I mean, you're not going to be going to Disneyland, but I think it just has to do with values, you know, and
I'm so high, I forgot where I was going with the fucking conversation, bro.
it just is what it is. It's going to work out. As the Muslims say, you know, God has the best plan, and it's like, we'll just see what happens. But I hope that, you know, over the years, people have said that I've inspired them to have kids, and they've been grateful about it. You know, all praise to God, etc. But I'm just going to do my best to show how fun it is to be a dad, and get it going. But if not, if people just choose not to, then that's their choice, and it is what it is, and they can just be gay.
I see that problem too within the, you know, Muslims will have like these giant weddings and they think that they need to be this successful in order to get married. But marriage is simple. It's just marriage is an agreement and then you are together. And nowadays, like most relationships are equivalent to a marriage. People will live together, have sex with each other, pay for everything. Totally. How is that not a marriage? The only difference is that you are committed long term. You don't need to be a multi-millionaire in order to be in a committed relationship. Stupid. But people have this idea that there needs to be this big ceremony. Everyone needs to be involved. Flowers, this much money. Did you have a major thing, or was it? I'm all for simple weddings.
Simple. Yeah, simple family, very simple. Dude, marriage makes you more successful. Like a man awakens when they have to provide for and protect a woman and their children. Like that's when I awoke it. Like, because I was talented and I had a good career, but I never had that ambition. You know, I liked respect as a craftsman. I liked doing my job well, but I work so much harder now because I'm married and a father. That the idea that you get all this money and you get successful so you can be married is, to me, it's the exact opposite. Like having a family will awaken a man.
Have you noticed that the simple weddings are the marriages that end up lasting much longer? The big extravagant ones always end in divorce? Always.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
That's an Islamic belief too, that you get more rewards when you're married because you are now responsible for others. Is that correct? This is now, you're part of a community. You're not just there for yourself and serving, because you're probably going to go into hedonism. A single guy forever, like what are you going to do with your money and with your time? You're going to end up being an idiot. You get drunk somewhere where you don't have to be responsible for anybody. So the propensity for you to fall into that trap is so much higher.
Oh, absolutely. I trust married guys more because it's like, it means they have to be able to work with someone else for a long period of time. And
that makes no fucking sense. I don't trust married guys, and let me tell you why. Because, let's be honest, girls are not fucking normal. And I know all my fucking friends, they're like pussies over for the girl, bruh. If the fucking girls start yapping, they don't got the balls to tell the fucking bitch to shut the fuck up and sit the fuck down. So yeah, I don't trust them, bruh. When they can fucking get dominated by a bitch, how the fuck should I trust them, bruh? If the fucking police investigate them, bruh, they're gonna fucking... How do you say it? They're gonna break. Yeah, bruh. No, bruh, I don't trust people who are married. I don't hold them higher than people that are not married. What the fuck? Honestly, Owen's reasoning, sometimes it doesn't make sense, bro.
Level, they can't just be narcissistic. You know, when you're providing for someone and they appear healthy and happy, I usually judge the man as good because it's hard to do. And the morality of the man kind of ripples out into the family, you know? That's why these grabblers...
Honestly, nah. I gotta say, if I know a person, he's married and have kids, I hold him to highest standards. I look at him with other eyes. I look at him as a person who's doing the right thing for his family. If it's not, then fuck him, bro. If it's not educating his kids, if it's a person who just leave his family and kids to the system, bro, fuck that kind of person, bro.
The wives always treat him like shit. Even the richest guys too, like the BlackRock and all these people, their wives are like, Larry, you're a you know, because the wives know that they're full of shit. The morality doesn't, like your home knows who you are. And so when you see a woman and children treat their father well, it's usually a sign that behind closed doors, they're what they appear to be.
Yeah, what is that? Because I saw Tucker got some backlash, but I think he was onto something. I understand it completely. He's talking about how women, he said it in a way like they have a spiritual power, but I think a better way to explain it, they have an intuition for is that they are able to smell out what's fraud intuitively. Is that correct?
What the fuck is you talking about, SNEAKO, man? Let's go back.
Because I saw Tucker got some backlash, but I think
full of shit. The morality doesn't, like your home knows who you are. And so when you see a woman and children treat their father well, it's usually a sign that behind closed doors, they're what they appear to be.
Yeah, what is that? Because I saw Tucker got some backlash, but I think he was onto something. I understand it completely. He's talking about how women, he said it in a way like they have a spiritual power, but I think a better way to explain it, they have an intuition for
women don't have no spiritual. What the fuck is this wording, bro? That's the thing, bro. People don't know what they're saying. What the fuck is he fucking saying? SNEAKO, it doesn't make sense what you're saying, bro.
Is that they are able to smell out what's fraud intuitively.
Women are not able to fucking smell out fraud, man. They're the persons who are the easiest to manipulate.
He said it in a way like they have a spiritual power, but I think a better way to explain it, they have an intuition for is that they are able to smell out what's fraud intuitively. Is that correct?
100%. I mean, they are, if you think about when women have been crazy in your life, because this is the case with me, my now wife too, I was up to something. Like, like just honestly.
Nah, bro, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. Well, the women then. Well, the women when kids get killed all around the world. Well, the women in the West. Well, the women. Bro, don't get me fucking started. This is bullshit, bro. Women. Bro, don't get me started, bro.
It was like, at the time, I thought she was being annoying and overbearing and all this, but looking back, she was right. Like, I was having inappropriate conversations with women. Like, they know. They know. And usually guys just are like, oh, my chick's crazy. Or, or you're up to something. And now that I'm not up to something, she's never crazy. It's like, we'll have arguments and stuff, but it really is that they just know when you're up to something.
How are they able to tell that what?
Nah, bro, you just fucking horrible at fucking. You're just not a player, bro. Honestly, you're just not a player, bro. Let me be fucking honest. I've been unfaithful in every fucking relationship, bruh. The day I'm in a relationship, the day I'm unfaithful, bro. I ain't fucking falling for that shit, bro. But what I'm trying to say is just because he's fucking dumb and can't fucking hide it, that doesn't mean that women have some kind of intuition or blah blah. Nah, bro, women are fucking easy, bro. You just gotta play on their feelings and fucking act like a dumb bitch. And those guys, you can play with them how much you want, bro. That's fact.
Gives them that power. Men fall for so much.
That's also why the feminine movement was not supported by real women. Real women, they know how to think and analyze, and they were against all of this women, feminism, and all of this. Bro, these guys, honestly, sometimes they're correct, sometimes they're not correct. Right now, Owen, he's not correct. SNEAKO, I don't know what you're doing, bro.
More. Yeah, I've made that mistake, man. I'm too trusting, and maybe I'm not able to smell out the front. But what is in women's DNA that gives them that ability?
It's that they are always looking for liabilities. That the Jewish culture is a feminine culture, where they're always looking for like the liability. Like they're at a defensive position, so they're always looking for what people like, what can hurt them. And so a lot of men are more of a what is possible. Like we're looking.
It's not correct. I don't know. Bro, this is the fucking shit, man. America think the whole world is how it functions. Bro, society don't function like American society around the world. Whatever they're talking about, it's American society, not the rest of the world.
Looking at a friend and we're looking at like what they, their potential, all the good things about them, because we're just not built to be as afraid. We're bigger, we're stronger. Women and a lot of Jewish gentlemen, they're always thinking like how to create a web and be able to read things so that they're not harmed. And they end up being very, very intuitive of any potential threat or liability. And then they have to deal with that as quickly as they can, or else they feel threatened.
You said Jewish is a feminine culture. And like
Yes.
you're out there in the woods and you build things. There's this movie, I think Ryan Gosling's playing this like neo character, and he's talking how like Jews don't have a homeland. They never build anything. They just make money in finance. And you look at Epstein, and he's saying that the Goyim work in the real world. We work in finance and in Wall Street. Have you seen, well, what is it about Jews that prevents them from being able to break a piece of wood?
I don't know, but the Jews that get...
First of all, that's the problem. People talk about the Jews like they're one group. Nah, bruh. There was Jewish people living in Balkan. There was Jewish people living in Asia. There was Jewish people living in Europe. All of them had their own identity, traditions, and all of that shit. Bro. It's sloppy analytics. Honestly, I don't know.
along with the best are the ones...
We work in finance and in Wall Street. Have you seen, well, what is it about Jews that prevents them from being able to break a piece of wood?
I don't know, but the Jews that get along with the best are the ones that are capable of doing manual labor. I think that the underlying thing is the refusal to do manual labor, because it's so freeing, and it gets you out of your... Because one thing that I think happens to a lot of Jews, and if you truly don't hate them and you actually view them with compassion, you can really see how they work. And they can get lost in their philosophies and theorems and you know what I mean? They're like so in their head.
Woody
Yeah.
Allen temperament,
You know what's funny? Now when I think about it, I never ran into a Jew. Like something for real. Like for real. Like something normal, working. I ran into a Jew, of course, bro, because, life. But like in a working situation. That's fucking interesting.
Yeah. So Jesus was a carpenter. That's one of the biggest factors, where it's like that piece of wood you can't manipulate with a spell. It's like the nail goes through it or it does not. And so the real world is constantly slapping you, like, get out of your head. Like, you're not like these models, they create dark matter and all this stuff, and it's like, show me in reality. And then they develop a disdain for reality, and that's when they're really on a downward spiral. So
is it something that's within the ethnicity, or I'm of the belief that it's the chosen idea that's in the Torah, where it's people have misconstrued. So many rabbinical Jews believe that the chosen people means that there's supreme, and it's kind of this idea that the world has been cruel to the Jews. They have been expelled in many places, and so they always live in that. This is the victim consciousness, like they are owed something that they haven't received yet, that they need payback.
That's what I mean. Why they're so feminine. They want to be.
That's not correct. The wording should be correctly worded. The Jews have been expelled from Christian territories. That's the thing. The wording is not correct.
Adorned with fancy robes, and they want to be listened to about the pain they've been through, and they want to be treated like the princesses that they are. Like they don't want to have their hands dirty. They want to be cared for, and maybe some worship. Yeah, it's horrifying. Like, to me, that's hell. That would be hell. And so I don't think it's ethnic. There might be some correlation, but I think it's about, they track it through the mother. It's all about that priming, where it's like, you have the specialist blood in the world, but you'll never be as good as your Uncle Ira. He's a lawyer and a doctor. It's like, it's the pit and the pedestal.
Honestly, from Owen, this is sloppy analytics and investigation. If people really gotta find out why people are thinking why they are, they're gonna find out what they're thinking. And right now, the thought process is a Zionistic project. So to find out why not the Jews, all of them, but majority, but not all of them, but why they support the Zionist state. So you gotta find what they're thinking first, and then you find the root, and then you find out how come it is like it is. Because throughout time, Jewish people did not know about Zionism, never heard about Zionism. But honestly, from Owen, it's just sloppy analytics. Honestly, I know this guy, he could do it better, but I don't know.
Where it's like, you're better than everyone just because you're a Jew, and everyone hates you forever, and you'll never be anything, and we're gonna like with you, you know? And that's how you kind of create this like narcissistic little psycho.
Yeah, I don't want to keep you forever, but I want to ask you about you talked about how they are demonizing Muslims more. Seeing this ramp up, like the Tommy Robinson protests, like this guy was on the Epstein files, and he's hosting protests, and he talks about being anti-immigration. I'm sure you've seen this, and they have like Korean guys put bacon on their shoulders, and they have Nigerian guys playing guitar about how they hate Muslims. The French girls strip naked and show their tits to the crowd.
I don't even see that. Sounds so stupid.
Yeah, this is you see it from Randy Fine and from the Loomers and stuff. This is ramped up more, I think, more than it has since 9/11. But what have you noticed this shift, or has it always been this demonization of Muslims?
I think it's getting more intense because of the financial system. I think the main thing is the usury thing, because it's if you stay focused on.
All right. Again, we have lazy analytics. It's not a new thing. We can see it all through the 1900s, 1800s. Bruh, I don't know, since the fucking Crusades. It's demonizing, and it's a systematical construction by the church powers, because it's all about power, money, taxation, who owns the land, who owns the people on the land, who are they loyal to, who are they gonna fight for. So yeah, propaganda against Muslims has been done the last, I don't know, 1,000 years, since the Crusades. If we're gonna be honest, that's pretty much how it is. That's fact. And you can go through the last 1,000 years and you can find so much literature and where it comes from, find the roots. Right, it's honestly, it's not know the world now. You gotta be dumb, bro. You got the internet, you got all that AI shit. Bro, it's so easy. Maybe I should make videos about how the world is and why it is. I don't know, bro. But honestly, from SNEAKO and from Owen, they should have been done little better analytics and prepared. Maybe had a topic or something, and then prepared some documents, done some shit, made something for the viewer. Honestly, this is just like, I get it. There's a little new things, but a lot of old things we already heard from Owen. Yeah, so, and I think it could have been better, this interview, but they should have, agreed on some topics, prepared for them, had some fun, showed some information to the people. That would have been better, I think.
On Islam versus Muslims, it's actually harder for them to attack because they have to kind of spell out what they're against. That's why it's like, well, what specifically about Islam do you not like? Is it the lack of sodomizing? Is it because that's like their Ponzi scheme requires infinite money printing. And if you want this globalism, you want to, the trauma and the sodomy and the nihilism. So Islam is scary to them. Because, and so I think they want to infuriate Muslim people to act like animals so that they can say, look, and try and get people to run into, the arms of despair and materialism.
Absolutely. I got to send you this guy, Rabbi Mizrahi. You would find him hilarious. He's my new favorite rabbi on YouTube. He says that don't let the Goyim ever get gold because they're going to melt it down and worship it as an idol. And that just seems
That's
like
hilarious.
It's great, but I think it does show a real problem. And you seem like somebody who, you're probably one of the
best. Honestly, some of these Zionistic rabbis, honestly, those guys should be comedians. Honestly, the things they're saying, bruh, It's so out of this world, bruh. What can you do? You gotta laugh, bruh. You gotta laugh. What can you do with him?
Better example, somebody who has escaped, and maybe I don't know how much gold you have, but you're there with land, you're there with physical, you have things. You don't play into the Ponzi scheme that we all know, this made up system that's based off of nothing. You found ways to, you found a way out. And we definitely need
it's
more
a
of that.
constant battle, though. I always say, focus on the Jew in your own heart. It's like there's always a little thing where it's like, oh, it'd be a little easier if I just did this and took a loan or whatever. It's always there. The minute you think that you're totally out, you should be a little worried. But yeah, silver, gold, land, family, skills, all that stuff. And I do have to bounce here. I got my gravel guy. I can tell is needs me to pay, I think.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Owen. I saw some people kayaking too. It looks fun out there. Hope to speak to you soon.
Oh yeah,
man.
you're always welcome, dude. I'd love to have you.
All right, good luck with the gravel. Keep fighting the good fight, Owen. It's always a pleasure.
Dude, I love talking to you. Let's talk soon.
Have a good one.
All right, peace, brother.
Peace.
I don't know. Basic interview. Nothing special. Nothing new. Nothing rememberable. But yeah, I don't know, bro. America is just weird, bro. It's just different. It's just the family structure, everything, bro. The whole system. But what can you say, man? It's a 200-year-old country, man. What can you expect? No debt. But yeah, for everybody, see you next time. I don't know what you got out of the interview. I didn't got shit, bro. It was too boring. Basic shit. Nothing new. I don't know. See you guys next time.